I'm the Ranting Packers fan, and this is Skelly coming to you from Lambeau West. The Vikings were more prepared and ready to play this game than the Packers were. They handed the Packers their opening loss 24-7. Now, it's not unlike last year, so I don't think we need to panic. But what I do believe is that we need time for the rookies and the vets to gel a little bit here. There were too many drop passes, too many miscommunications, too many mental mistakes in the first half, and it allowed the Vikings to get out on a big lead. Now, I have to say that the offense played a little bit better in the second half. They had their only score with a very nice drive that ended with A.J. Dillon going into the end zone. I would have thought the defense would have done much better than they did because they were pretty good at the end of last year. They did lose a few, but they still had the bulk of the defense intact. They did get a few other people through the draft, and Jair Alexander came back, but I don't know, he was targeted a few times. He did pretty well. The Packers didn't seem to have a plan for Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, he had several catches for right around 200 yards. And they did keep Dalvin Cook down to under 100, I believe. They've got to get their heads together. They got to get something going, and they got to get back into it. The special teams did pretty good. They had good coverage on kickoffs and punts. They did pretty well receiving kickoffs and punts. They didn't do too bad. Amari Rodgers was back receiving kickoffs and punt returning. They seemed to do well that way. So I think it's just going to take a little bit of time. They got to get gelled a little bit. We also didn't have Alan Lazard out there. We didn't have David Bakhtiari. And we didn't have Elgton Jenkins. So hopefully we'll have them back next week against the Bears. Now, as you know, one game does not make a season. Very much evident like last year when they got blown out by the Saints in the first game. They came back to win the division and have the number 1 seed. It was the 205th meeting between the Packers and the Bears. Those rascally Bears, they hung in there for practically the whole game with the 1-2 punch of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon and some key catches from the Bear Killer and some good plays by the rookies. Dobbs, Christian Watson. Great plays from Sammy Watkins. The defense, just, pardon the expression, bear down on that Justin Fields. Had a little trouble with Montgomery there for a bit. He was running all over the defense. But they finally got that handled. Jair Alexander had a interception there at the last moments to preserve a 27-10 victory. The Packers had 3 sacks, an interception. I'm sure that as time goes on, they're going to get even better. But I hear a lot of haters say something about not having a number 1 wide receiver. Well, I think it's by committee. And I think that as long as the job gets done, as long as Rodgers has people out there he can trust, as he builds trust, there'll be plenty of receptions, plenty of touchdowns, and plenty of wins this year. What are your thoughts? I think the Bears are a lot better than most people think. Put them down in the comments. Check out our social media. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. It was quite a game. The Rodgers versus Brady matchup didn't live up to the hype. Or did it? It's hard to tell. Packers had 2 really good drives for touchdowns. Tampa had 1 really good drive for a touchdown. Otherwise, Tampa had to settle for 2 field goals. Dobbs had a really good game. He showed up really good. Randall Corn on the cob, he showed up, played well. The running game didn't do so well, but the Packers kept with the running game. It was a battle of 2 defenses. Tampa's defense, Green Bay's defense, and not a whole lot of offense. But the Packers went down to Tampa, 88 degrees. Who knows what the humidity was. Really super hot down on the field. And came out with a W. And oh, that defense. The last seconds of the game, Tampa scores a touchdown. Then they went for the extra point. Actually, the 2-point conversion. Had a delay of game. Then they set up for another 2-point conversion. After a 5-yard penalty. It was a pass into the end zone. Devondre Campbell jumps high in the air, tips the pass, and it falls harmlessly to the ground. Packers had a 14-12 victory. Romeo Doubs is going to be quite the receiver, I think. The defense is what we had expected it to be. It's coming around, and it sacked Brady several times, pressured him, helped carry the team along with special teams. Special teams was phenomenal. Well, it's halftime, and the Patriots are up 10-7. I don't know what's going on with those Packers, but they just don't seem to want to get going. They've had too many turnovers, and that's 2 of them, and that's too many. Packers will get it back after the half, and there we go. Well, it wasn't what most people would say a pretty win, but it was a win. A W is a W. No excuses for a W. The Packers and the Patriots both fought very hard. It was a tough game. I don't believe that the Packers were hitting on all cylinders. Boy, I wish they'd have a faster start in the first half. No, it wasn't to be. Regulation time ran out and it was tied. 24-24. Even went through all of the overtime. With 4 seconds left, Mason Crosby comes out, nails the field goal for the win. But the fact of the matter is, this team, the offense hasn't even gelled yet. A lot of new pieces, a lot of very young players, and it takes time to create the chemistry. And I think by mid to late season, they're going to be better offensively than they were last year. Well, Packer fandom, what are your thoughts now? Are you ready to jump ship? I don't think it's time. I think we all need to relax a little bit. This isn't the 1970s and 1980s yet, where they were lucky to be 500. The season is yet salvageable. It's going to take an X amount of wins to get in the playoffs. To hell with that #1 seed. You got to get to the dance in order to win the championship. In this case, the Super Bowl. I think the Packers, their scheme, their game plan, I think overall it's probably okay. But I have not seen execution like it should be. A lot of mental mistakes. And obviously I'm beyond the game. I'm talking from here forward. They've had 6 games, but they have 11 left. And they have 3 wins. Let's not forget that. The Fairweather fans are going to jump ship. They're not going to be able to hold steady. In my 64 years, I've seen some really bad teams, really bad seasons, really bad decades. But this is not one of those seasons necessarily. They need to work. They need to get executing. Execute each play to its highest level. What that's going to take, we will see. And if they find they need help down the road, they will have to explore that. But that's a conversation for another time. How many of you Packers fans will stay the course? Good or bad? Give me your comments down below. Check out our social media. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. The game plan or the scheme, you won't win without execution. The Packers go into Washington, D.C. to meet the Commanders in Week 7. Can they win? Sure. Will they win? Who knows? The fact of the matter is, the Packers have to go in and execute. The previous 6 weeks, we've seen very little execution. Very uncharacteristic of a Packers team in the last 30 years. Oh yeah, Matt LaFleur, he can come up with a game plan. He can come up with schemes. All the coaches, they can do all that. But when it comes right down to it, if the players on the field aren't executing, they aren't going to win. So with that said, the Packers go into this week hopefully better prepared, mentally prepared, and go in and beat this Commanders team. Oh yeah, they've got a running back called Robinson. He's a feel-good story. And we're happy that he's recovered from his ordeal, being shot twice in the leg, and coming back and being able to play again. Carson Wentz is there, all the controversy surrounding him and the coach. So this is really a game that the Packers can win. Hopefully they'll come out with a win and they'll get on the winning track. Lots of season to go. Got to get Jones involved in the running game more. Passing game, whatever it takes. Dobbs needs to get rolling. Winfrey needs to help out. The tight ends need to get involved. The kicking game's got to be on point. No mistakes. Lots of mental mistakes last week by all facets of the team. What simplified means, I don't know. So let's root the Packers on to a victory. Takeaways from the Packers versus the Bills. Samari Touré's 37-yard touchdown catch. Dobbs' spectacular touchdown catch. The running game. The offense in the second half. And the defense in the second half. Well, the Packers traveled to Ford Field to meet the Lions. It's game day. Those Motor City Kitties are coming into the game with a 1-6 record. They have a pretty good running game yet with Williams and Swift. And Goff is passing the rock all over the field, hitting their wide receivers, Hawkinson and St. Brown. They've got some defenders. Rodriguez in the defense. He's somebody to watch out for. We got to annihilate them kitty cats. The Packers come off a game where the second half was very good against the Buffalo Bills. Old Dobby there, he had himself a heck of a catch for a touchdown. Samari, he had a heck of a catch for a touchdown. The defense played pretty well the second half. got a lot of pressures, got some sacks. The Lions ain't no pushover either. The team buses will be arriving shortly at Ford Field. The Packers got to continue playing like they did the second half in the Buffalo Bills game. We got to show them Lions who's boss. We got to stop this 4-game skid and go back home and play a couple of games at home. Now I think with the Packers running game, Jones and Dillon, we can run on these Lions. The receivers that are in the game have to keep stepping up, making plays. It's gonna be a good one. Gotta watch them rascally Lions. They might just pull a fake punt on you, pull out all the tricks in the bag. They have nothing to lose. But then, the Packers have nothing to lose either. So they need to just do whatever it takes to win. Holy crap! Well, the Packers pulled one out against them Cowgirls. I'll tell you what, that was really something. They played a full 60-plus minutes of football, and boy, am I happy about that. Now, I'm happy about the win, but I'm also happy that they played that full 60-plus minutes of football. My God. That Christian Watson, 3 touchdown receptions, most for rookies since 1978. Jones and Dillon piled up the yardage. Rodgers had a pretty good night overall. Yeah, we could talk about Amari Rodgers. Old Mike McCarthy, he had a post-game interview. He couldn't even call him by the Packers. He had to say the other guys. But he did say the other guys had some pretty darn good players. Wow. We got ourselves a victory Monday, and that's nice. Now, this Packers team hasn't been as good as we thought they were going to be, but by God, they're coming right on. Why, in the defense, Rudy Ford had 2 critical interceptions. That was awesome. Special teams, Nixon, he had some really good yardage. The only thing I'll say about Amari Rodgers is he had another fumble. Why he was returning punts, I'll just never know. Get him out of there. It's a feel-good game. Hopefully build upon it. Run the table. It was just a nail-biter. Heart attack back. Well, Thursday night's gonna be a big game for the Packers. The Titans come into town at a 6-3 record, and it may just very well be a snowy Lambeau. I know that the Packers need to build on the game that they had Sunday against the Cowboys. And I know they have to have a heaping helping of running game. And maybe that Christian Watson guy, maybe he'll have another big day. Even a couple of big plays downfield would help out. Randall Cobb may be back. I don't know yet. I haven't seen the injury report. All I know is it's going to be a good one. It's going to be on Thursday night football. Prime time. If the Packers come out and play like they did last Sunday, they could definitely come out with another W. That'd be 2 in a row. Got to go in and annihilate them Titans. It'll be their running backs against our running backs. It'll be Derrick Henry, Dontrell Hilliard against Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It's going to be a battle, but it'll be fun. Let's all root those Packers on to a victory. Well, the Packers have won. They beat the Bears, their oldest rival, 28-19. What a game. What a second half. How about that Christian Watson? He is a star in the making. He's going to have to learn some more touchdown celebrations the way he's going. And that defense, boy, that second half of that defense, they had done really good. That defense. Jair Alexander, he got burned a couple times. EQ and some other unknown wide receiver he was having trouble with. But by God, when it came right down to it, sat in front of EQ in the fourth quarter and picked that pass off, that was the beginning of the end of the Bears. Matter of fact, that was the dagger. Back to Christian Watson, my God. He took a jet sweep, 46 yards to the house. And then he had enough energy to, I don't know, do some kind of flipping around. That was awesome. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he still owns the Bears. He had a lot of teammates helping him during that game, but I tell you what, that was something. And then the 2-point conversion, that was awesome. That play was called really good. My God, I think the Bears were dumbfounded. Mercedes Lewis, my God, he was wide open in the end zone. He's backpedaling. Caught that. Put it up. Put the score up by 9. Well, I don't know. A minute something left. It was too much for the Bears, though. That's special teams. My God, blocked a field goal. What about that Nixon guy? My God, Keyshawn Nixon. Every time he got his hands on the ball, he was like flying out of the end zone. Pretty good games. All in all, the Packers came out victorious. They did really well, especially in the second half. I think they were 13 points down at one time or something like that. So the Packers have it in them. They have a bright future. Now, can they make the playoffs? I don't know. But they still have hope. They have to win out and get a lot of help. Tell me your thoughts. Put them down in the comments. And he wants to say to all you Packers fans, enjoy the bye week, because next week we get back to work. Well, the Packers inch, and I do mean micro-inch, their way toward the playoffs with a big win against the Rams. The Packers seemed to play pretty much a full 4 quarters of football, beating the Rams 24-12. Dobbs was out there. Christian Watson was out there. Cobby had some action. The running game was going. Dillon had some yards and some touchdowns. Jones had some yards and some touchdowns. It was quite an interesting game. Now, a lot of people say the last 2 games the Packers play and won were against the lowly Chicago Bears and the lowly Rams. Needless to say, the Packers still had to win those games to be where they're at. They have Miami coming up, and they have several tough ones coming up. They've got 3 games left. They've got to win out. A lot of things have to happen. But there's still hope, Packer Nation. There's still hope. It'll get there. Remember the 2010 season, all the way to the Super Bowl. We're going to have to finish up strong. We're going to have to annihilate the competition. To hell with the haters. We're on a roll. Run the table.
Yes, 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 touchdown!
Well, the Packers pull off another one. The Packers are on fire, beating the Vikings 41-17. It was no fluke, no pun, well, maybe a pun intended, that Jair Alexander kept Justin Jefferson down to 1 catch. And that little gritty gritty thing that he did, that was hilarious. But it all come down to total team effort. Full 60 minutes of football, all three phases, offense, defense, special teams, all kicking in and doing their part. Rodgers only had 159 yards, but that's okay because it became a total team effort. I think that's what it's going to take to keep on pushing through. So, were the Vikings, or should I say, are the Vikings frauds? I think that they won't get very far in the playoffs. They don't have what it takes to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. Once again, they don't have any Super Bowls. They don't have any championships of any kind. They've got an NFC North championship this year, but well, that's okay. They've had some NFC championships along the way, but they can't win the big one. But I can't say enough about this Packers team, what heart they have, and all the grit and determination. Reminds me of the 2010 Super Bowl team. This team has the same possibilities. And what about that Keyshawn Nixon? Oh my God. 105 yards to the house on a kickoff return. Savage, interception, return for a pick six. My God. That's just wonderful. Put your comments down below. I know you've got a bunch of them. This year's Packers are turning out to be a surprise. Or is it what we expected them to be in the beginning? What do you say, Skelly? Skelly says, we're on a roll and we're going to run the table. Time for the well done, the Stinky, and the downright awful. Well done, Christian Watson. Stinky, Aaron Rodgers. Downright awful, Quay Walker. And Rasul Douglas. What the hell were they thinking? Go, Pack, go. Ha ha ha.